which is also known as a yeast infection. It's caused by Candida, a fungus that normally grows in the body but can overgrow and cause infection under certain conditions. Let's start with what we're looking at. The cause of this infection is a fungus called Candida. There are hundreds of types of Candida. The most that is seen in hospitals is Candida albicans. It's important to understand that this isn't just a germ that you pick up from a dirty surface. It's a yeast that lives inside of most of us right now. It can be in our mouths or on our skin without causing any trouble. We call this novel microbial. It only becomes an opportunistic pathogen when it sees a chance to attack. For example, if someone has an immunocompromised system or their immune system is weak, Candida will overgrow it. One of the most amazing things about this yeast is it can change its shape. It goes from tiny round circles to growing long root-like structures called pipes. These are like the biological drills that allow the fungus to dig deep into our tissues. As seen in the cell plate below, I have a picture of a gram stain of Candida. Looking back at the history of Candidas, humans have known about yeast infections since the 1800s, but for a long time it wasn't considered a deadly threat, which changed around the mid-1900s with the invention of antibiotics. Antibiotics actually help Candida grow. This is because antibiotics kill the good bacteria in our body that usually keep yeast in check. When those bacteria are gone, the yeast has more room to take over. In the 1980s, HIV/AIDS crisis showed us just how dangerous the fungus could be when the immune system isn't working. Today, because we use so many modern medical tools like catheters and IVs, Candida has become one of the most common infections found in hospitals worldwide, as it can allow them to overgrow. Looking at the data I have, we can notice that Candida is obviously a global problem. Every year, around 1.5 million people deal with an invasive case. This means the fungus has moved past the skin and into the blood or organs. In the United States alone, we see about 25,000 cases a year. The reason this is such a serious topic is the mortality rate. Most severe cases, the death rate is between 35 and 70%. That means a room of 10 people leaves 4 of them not surviving. This is not usually something you catch from people, it's inside your own body. So it's your own internal balance getting messed up, causing the yeast that was already there to overgrow. You have to keep in mind that an overgrowth of candidas, and if it enters the bloodstream, it can lead to sepsis. So, Candida damages the body by first forming something called biofilm. This is the protective layer the yeast produces to hide inside of. They build these biofilms on medical equipment like heart valves or IV tubes, which makes it hard for medicine to reach them. Once they're attached, those hyphae I mentioned earlier to break into the cells, they release enzymes that break down the tissue. Because the yeast is already in your body, there is no incubation time. It just starts as soon as the conditions are there. If it stays local, you may see white patches in your mouth, which is called thrush, or red itchy rashes on the skin. But if it enters the body, it becomes systemic. This leads to high fevers, extreme tiredness, and eventually organ failure, where this becomes a medical emergency and your body is going into sepsis. In these pictures, I have the thrush, the white patches that you might see on your tongue if you have candidas, and then the overgrowth of yeast infection in the human skin and what it would look like, red rash. So for the immune response and treatment, how your body's supposed to fight back, the body uses the white blood cells called neutrophils, and they use them to eat the yeast cells. When the body can't do it alone, you use antifungals, which we know about antibiotics for bacteria, but antifungals are the version for the fungus. Some of the most common prescribed ones would be fluconazole or nystatin. For a simple skin rash, you may just use a cream prescribed from your doctor. But for the 25,000 invasive cases in the US, patients need drugs pumped directly into their veins through an IV. To prevent this, we try to focus on balance, meaning using antibiotics only when necessary and also properly. That means following all instructions provided by your doctor. Keeping blood sugar under control for diabetic patients is also important, and maintaining good hospital hygiene. If we don't take care of the infection, again, you may go into sepsis, which is why over here I have a chart saying the symptoms, and if you notice any of these, you must immediately rush to the hospital. The impact of Candida, of course, goes beyond just patients. It's a huge economic issue because these infections are nearly impossible to treat. The patients have to stay in the hospital much longer, which can cost an extra $2,000 for the patient and even the hospital itself. It also can change the way the hospital operates, as nurses and doctors have to be careful with cleaning and how to handle the IV lines since they don't want the infection to enter the bloodstream. So, the most interesting thing to remember is that Candida is a survivalist. There's some new species like Candida auris, and these live on dry hospital chairs for weeks. It's an important part of our body's natural world, but when it gets in the wrong place, such as the blood, it becomes a serious harmful enemy in the blood. I have a short video that will talk a little bit more about Candida auris and how they are working.
What? The firefighting is a job, just not yours. Monday.com.
Which can be deadly. Texas has reported 160 cases of Candida auris over the last year.
But do you really need to worry about it? Our sister station in Washington, D.C. verified some fast facts for you.
Officials are putting out warnings about an emerging fungus. It's called Candida auris, and the CDC says it, quote, presents a serious global health threat. So what is it and who's at risk? Let's verify with the help of these sources, including the CDC and the Virginia Department of Health. Candida auris is a type of yeast that can cause severe illness in hospitalized patients. It can infect multiple parts of the body, including ears, wounds, and the bloodstream, and the symptoms vary. The fungus is also hard to identify with normal lab techniques, so it's tricky to track, but the number of cases is growing. It's also often resistant to multiple antifungal drugs. People with weakened immune systems or who've been hospitalized for long periods seem to be most at risk. Even with the resistance, though, our experts say there are drugs that work against the fungus, and with proper PPE and cleaning, hospitals can keep it from spreading. Plus, the fungus can be harmless for many healthy people, colonizing the skin without causing infection. So for most of us, there's not much to worry about.
As the video shows, Candida auris is a newer and a more severe type of Candida that can cause severe infections, especially in hospitalized or immunocompromised patients. While my presentation mainly focuses on candidas caused by Candida albicans, this example highlights how different species of Candida can vary in severity and treatment difficulty. It also shows how some strains are becoming resilient to antifungal drugs, which is an increasing concern in healthcare settings. Overall, the video connects to the importance of understanding candidas and how it can range from a mild infection to a more serious, life-threatening condition like the newest strain of candidas auris. Candida shows how a normally harmless organism like Candida can become harmful when the body's balance is disrupted. Understanding the causes, symptoms, and prevention helps reduce the risk of infection and improve treatment outcomes. Thank you for listening.